Hey guys, welcome back to the Pickle Minds podcast. Today I have here with me a friend from high school. His name's Ryan Craig. I used to do a lot of video projects in school, like short films and such. And I kind of want to ask you about a lot of that stuff because I know it took a lot of work. Because with my, I tried starting YouTube and stuff, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you use Adobe Premiere Pro. I don't know if you use that at all.
I used it a couple times at the high school.
It is very, very complex. Like, it is so complex that it's hard for me to use. There's so much you can learn and stuff on it. It's just really weird on how there's so much you can do with one video, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, yeah, what all made you want to start to do all that?
I honestly loved movies growing up. I still do. And I actually used to make videos and stuff with my dad as a wee one. We would
Really?
make our own short films. I kind of just started doing it on my own with friends. And then I just it grew from there, just video editing, filmmaking, what have you. Filmmaking, quote unquote. I was making stupid Nerf videos and Spider-Man stuff or whatever. But, I was like 8 years old and like, I like this, let me do this thing. And eventually I taught myself how to edit in iMovie.
Oh, okay.
And, things kind of took off from there. And I've never stopped loving, film editing and everything. But
Now, did you when you said you started, whenever you said you started off iMovie, did you start off with your phone creating stuff, or did you actually start off on the PC on iMovie?
I started on the Macintosh. Macintosh desktop. iMovie on the iPhone didn't come around until much later on.
Really?
I want to say, at least as far as I know.
Because whenever I was in middle school, you ever play Rocket League?
No.
I played Rocket League all the time, man. And I used to do like little montages just off my phone.
Right.
I'd save the clips from my Xbox and I upload them online and just re-download them and just edit it and put it on YouTube.
There you go. Yeah.
And then you said you used to like make Nerf videos and such.
Right.
Did you put it all? You put that stuff on YouTube, didn't you?
It's all on YouTube. It's all unlisted. But
Because I know a lot of people did that too.
Yeah,
It wasn't just like a certain group. Like there's a bunch of kids growing up that did that.
Yeah, no, I caught on to the trend. I hopped on the bandwagon. I'm like, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to do Jason Bourne with Nerf guns.
Yeah, I've always wondered because I'm pretty sure what is it, Mr. Hart's class, or there was another class that you had a really really good film project for, and it was for drugs. I think it was health class.
Yeah, it was. You might.
It was like the phone call one. Whenever you pick up the phone call, talking to your sister and such.
Yeah. That was health class. That was Mr. Orndorff.
Because that was that. There's no way I would have been able to pull that off. You know what I mean? It looked top notch.
With music by Declan Kilgallen.
What'd you say? Oh, Dylan. I'm sorry, I did not say him right. His name's Declan.
Declan Kilgallen.
Declan Kilgallen. He's the one that produces music and such, right?
Yes.
Now I know you guys. You told me beforehand that you started collabing with him. Oh, and as you guys were growing up, what kind of like projects did you collab on?
Now. We nice. Actually, let me just start from the very beginning.
Yeah,
how we
sure.
met and everything. So, aside from doing video editing, I was also trying to dabble into voice acting because I had a snowball microphone. I figured, fuck it, I'm good enough doing everything. So I found this website called Voice Acting Club, which I don't think is a thing anymore, and on there was like a casting call. For a part in this X-Men audio drama, and it was for like a villain in one of the episodes.
Yeah.
So I auditioned, I got the role. I recurred a couple of other times in the next season, and Declan Kilgallen was the one who did the score for the project.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to do my own thing with Batman at the time, and I figured, okay, well, in order to the thing about Batman is. Yes, you have to have someone who can play both Bruce Wayne and Batman and the guy in between, but you also need a great theme. You need to get somebody who can create an iconic theme that resonates with that version of character, And so I asked Carl, the guy who was running X-Men, the audio drama, I'm like, do you know anyone? And he said, well, Declan is the one that does our music, so here's the social media. You reach out to him. I did. He was immediately interested. He was super nice. He was a gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I would love to, you know. I thought he was like 5 years, 10 years older than me. We were the same age.
Really?
We were both like 15 years old, 15, 16 years old. And we kind of worked on that for a little bit and never went anywhere. I was working with somebody else and that just kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
But we stayed in contact and we didn't stop trying to make things down the line.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just spitballing ideas, writing down script outlines, trying to write screenplays. And then later on, you know, because he's a music guy and I've always kind of wanted to dabble into music but never could, he inspired me to try that too.
Oh,
and
okay.
we would kind of work on stuff together, you know. Like I want to say it was in 2018. 2018 was probably the peak of our workmanship, quote unquote. But that's whenever I started songwriting. I just did it for fun and whatever. But he was saying like, no, this is actually pretty good. Do you want me to, you know, try and make something out of this? And, you know, we tried a couple things here and there. I got Logic on my laptop after playing with it at the school. And we kind of, I don't know, we messed around with a lot of things, but nothing ever came to light.
Just experimenting and
yeah,
stuff.
just experimenting, having fun. The other thing too is, and one thing, which is the reason why I'm here today, we would record vocals for, you know, certain songs that I had written. I mainly wanted to just be a songwriter, have somebody else come in. Declan said I had a good singing voice, but I was very self-conscious about that, you know.
Yeah.
And I still am. But you know what? Fuck it. Who cares?
Yeah.
You know. But sorry, I don't know where I was taking
It's cool, man. And like, let me ask you a question real quick. When
Yeah,
you say
go ahead.
songwriting, like, were you just writing lyrics, or were you actually writing like the beats and stuff to everything?
I was just writing lyrics.
Lyrics to
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Declan was the one handling beats, handling, you know, pretty much anything.
Okay.
The other thing too is that Declan was a classical composer.
Oh,
You know,
really?
like a lot of the stuff that, and I mentioned to you before that he was a dude that should have won Oscars.
Mhm.
Like a lot of, like the majority of his stuff sounds like things that would be in motion pictures,
Really?
you know? And so he never really dabbled into anything like hip hop or grunge or whatever. He enjoyed that stuff. You know, we were both huge fans of Run the Jewels.
Really?
Yeah.
That's why, like, you know, whenever you keep saying, like, whenever you text me before, just like Run the Jewels constantly, I was like, how does he know I like these things?
Right? I think it was Mike that told me. I'm like, all right, fellow Jewel runner. But yeah, we were, you know, he loved music outside of what he composed.
Yeah.
He just stuck to one thing. And we would, you know, try to dabble in other stuff, you know, play with synthesizers, because that's the only thing I'm good at. I can't read music at all. I just press buttons and try to make them sound good. And that's where he would come in and try to arrange everything, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
When it comes to like music in general, like
Mhm.
people are a lot of the same ways too. Like whenever they compose something, they don't like necessarily listen to it, or like that's not like what the main thing that they like either. Because with Mike and his music that he's been making,
Mhm.
he's been making like screamo rap,
Right.
and hardcore,
Yeah.
heavy metal stuff,
Mhm.
and he doesn't even really listen to it half the time. He just thinks it sounds cool. And
Right.
like that's what he's been experimenting with lately, and he's making classical music, as you said.
Mhm.
That's something that caught me off guard, man. You don't
Mhm.
really get people that make classical music or really much anymore.
Yeah. And it also, the thing is, classical music has been around. It's
Yeah.
always been around. It's just comes in different forms.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Avengers theme that everybody now references
Yeah.
on TikTok. Like that's a classical piece of music.
Yeah, I guess it is. I never really thought about it that way, though. You know what I mean? It's
Mm.
just like, oh, it's the Avengers theme song,
Right.
or what is it? What else is there? I can't even think of just like background music in general. man.
Like the Dark Knight theme.
yeah, that
Like
too.
that's
It's-
classical
I
music.
didn't expect it all to be classical music, man. I really
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah, it's often like labeled as like soundtrack, but technically it's classical.
Oh.
You know, and that's the kind of stuff that Declan would do. He's the first guy, as far as I'm aware. There's probably been plenty of people, but to me, he was the first guy to ever take the '90s X-Men cartoon theme and make it into a classical piece.
I've never heard the '90s X-Men theme.
Oh, that's okay.
I'll be honest.
I'll play it for you later.
And now, like, did you ever try to post any of the songs you guys tried creating together?
We did not, and here's why. I'm glad you asked me that. I think that's where I was going later or earlier. Like I said before, I was always pretty self-conscious about my voice.
Yeah.
There was one project in particular that we got really close to finishing. Like he created masters of stuff and sent them to me. But I was trying to, like I said before, I was trying to find a different vocalist to do the lyrics that I wrote down, or at the very least, do them with me, you know?
Yeah.
And that really never went anywhere. There was also an incident at school, which I'm not going to get into.
Yeah.
But pretty much, long story short, I had accidentally left testing vocals on that drive. Somebody found them, started playing them. And I'm like, you know what? I can't do this. Like my social anxiety and everything was like, nope, fuck this. We're done. We're not doing it.
So someone found like what you recorded at school and...
Yeah, somebody found something, and it was from a different project that Declan and I were working on.
No.
And it was like more like Nine Inch Nails-y and whatever. And I was trying to replicate that, and I was horribly failing at it. And somebody found it, was poking fun at it, and I'm just like,
I kind of like took the cake.
Yeah. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. Like I remember like crying to Declan, like, I can't do it. We're done. And he's like, all right, fair enough. And we were, at the same time, we were also so busy that it was hard to work on the stuff that we were working on. We would go back to it once in a while, like, hey, I have an idea for this. And it turned into, I made something. Here's the base. You work on the rest of it, And that's what a lot of our stuff was. And I started to come out of my shell like, oh, maybe I will do vocals, But I was like a perfectionist. Like I had to do this thing. It had to be this way.
Yeah.
And it was, we always worked together, but it was more for my part. Like, no, I have to get this done perfectly before I send it to you.
Yeah.
And he also got really busy himself with college and everything, or uni, as they say it over there. And
they call it like universities, like unis?
Yeah, college over. By the way, for anyone who is unaware, Declan is from the UK.
Oh.
So college over there is high school.
Oh, okay.
And university is college over here.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's something you don't learn every day.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And primary school is elementary school. So
yeah, I guess they do kind of call everything different over there though.
Yeah. Same idea, just different ways of doing it. But anyway, I feel like I just blew your mind.
A little bit you did.
But he was very busy at uni. He was in law school at the time.
Oh, okay.
He still loved music, but he had an affinity for law. And I don't want to speak for him, but I get the feeling that when you're doing music, like, I think we talked before how I would do like freelance videography on the side.
Yeah.
And that's a hard job.
It is.
Yeah, it's one thing to, be editing videos, but you have to find videos to edit. And you have to really sell yourself to other people saying, hey, this would, like, trust me, this is a good idea that you should hire me. And the same thing is with music. A lot of, like, unless you're signed to a label or unless you know a few people in the business, it's going to be really hard for you to sell your piece of score to another person.
That is very true, because I just had the same talk with, like I said, Mike the other day.
Yeah.
And he told me that, like, he would love to do music as, like, a career. But he said it's, like, so hard to even get yourself out there that he, like, right now, he's studying to become a police officer.
Yeah.
And he like, does so much music on the side in his free time that, like, it's not worth it really because he's not getting the attention he wants. He just likes to do it as a hobby. He just doesn't. He feels like if he tried to pursue it as like a career choice rather than something he loves to do, he'd hate it eventually.
Right.
And I feel like that's something that could come down with even like creating videos or
Absolutely
creating anything. Honestly,
that's why I stopped video editing.
Really,
you know? Like I'm not saying never again, but there's number one, I just really don't feel like doing it, and number two, there isn't anybody who wants me to do it, especially in the time of COVID where there's like hardly any productions of anything.
You barely get to even talk to half the people anymore unless it's online. Or, like, you wouldn't even know what to do. Like, if you have to actually go out somewhere and record, you don't know how many people's comfortable with you actually going out there, touching everything, recording everything. You know what I mean? Being in the moment. Because a lot of people are like that. Like, even with, I don't know, you said you did grocery delivery for Walmart.
Yeah.
I did it for Martin's as well. And a lot of people out there just, like, they don't want to be in contact with anybody at all. Like, they go out, they open their trunk, and you just load the groceries in, and they close their trunk. They, like, don't want you touching anything of theirs.
Yeah, and I get it, too.
Yeah.
Like, as someone who survived COVID-19, I completely understand.
I had it back in last spring. I had it real bad on the college campus. And, like, my throat would be swollen shut to where I could barely breathe. And I had to go to the, not the hospital, the little medical center down there, man. And freaking... They gave me steroids, and they had this little, I don't know what, like a respirator to help clear up my throat. And the steroids was the only thing that was, like, fighting it off. It sucked, man.
Yeah.
It was the worst.
I ruined Thanksgiving because I got it, like, a week before Thanksgiving. And they were like, nope, we're not doing it.
That's what happened to my family, too. My cousin got it. We were supposed to go all to their house for Thanksgiving, and my cousin got it, so we just stayed home. It's just, I don't know, man. The world's going up in flames. I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon.
Well, I think of it this way. Spanish flu lasted 3 years. And we have, like, the fact that we have 2 different versions of a vaccine tells me that probably by the end of this year, maybe towards the end of next year, we could actually have this under control. I don't think we're ever going to get rid of masks. You know?
Really?
Yeah, I feel like.
Do you think like it's gonna be like China with the smog down there, like how their air quality is so bad that they have to wear masks all the time?
Well, I think that in grocery stores, there's probably going to continue to be like a 6-foot rule. You probably still might have to wear a mask. Maybe it'll be more optional than some places are making it out to be.
So basically, like,
or it'll be less controversial if you don't wear a mask.
Basically, it's like sanitary precautions.
Exactly. Yeah. And
that might happen.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, with the way the human race has reacted to pandemics and has started pandemics, there's going to be another one. You know, I feel like in the next 30 years, in the next 60 years,
something new's about to arise.
Exactly. You know.
We'd be like, oh, don't know how to fight love.
Right, yeah.
But,
I mean, just side note, I would rather be dealing with COVID-19 than Ebola. Just saying. Ebola just saying.
You ever see, like, what it does to people?
Yeah.
It just makes you bleed out every crevice on your body.
Yeah, every orifice, disgusting. Blood, you know?
I don't even think there's, like, a survival rate of that, if you get it.
No.
And usually what they're saying is people that have been dying from COVID is people who've already had, like, respiratory problems and other type of disease. You know?
Yeah,
it's strange if you think about it, but it kind of makes sense because, like, you get someone with asthma has COVID. Like I said, my throat's swollen shut. You could just suffocate and die from it, and you wouldn't even know. I had a friend that I already talked about him I talk about him all the time. He lived in Florida. His name was Max. And the way he died was he had an allergic reaction to the medicine he was given.
Jesus.
And basically he, like, in the middle of the night, he, like, suffocated to death. And it makes me think about that all the time when it comes to, like, a situation where I was in as well, in my room, with, like, being able to barely breathe. Like, it can just happen to anyone.
Absolutely.
Like, you don't even have to have problems. You can even be allergic to COVID. Who knows? Maybe it's just an allergy to COVID that's just killing people off. If you think about it.
Yeah, I think that people with like preconceived conditions are definitely like
more high class to getting hurt.
more susceptible to getting infected and likely dying, you know. And that's why those people need to get vaccines first.
That's true. I think they're making a third one. Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah.
They got their third vaccine out and ready now for people. Which I didn't even know Johnson & Johnson made vaccines.
Yeah.
Like that's when I think of Johnson & Johnson, I think of like the baby company.
Right, yeah.
Where they just sell like the water and stuff.
Hmm.
But I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You learn something, like I said, you learn something new every day.
The more you know. And since the beginning of this year, vaccines have been distributed at an alarming rate too.
They have.
Like just like, all right, fuck this, pump it out. We have it all, pump it out.
That's very true.
So I just another side note, and I'll save this and then we'll get back on topic.
Yeah, good.
But I see there are a lot of people that are saying like, how do we have a COVID-19 vaccine and not like a cure for cancer or AIDS? It's like, do you know how the hell vaccines work? Number one. And number two, like, do you know the symptoms of COVID? It's similar to the flu, just a lot worse. So
yeah, when you think of like the cure for cancer, though, it's like how are you gonna give like a vaccine for something when it's inside your body? Like it's your own body that's replicating just cancerous cells.
Exactly.
Like it's not like a virus replicating something.
Yeah.
It's literally your own body, so you can't really fight it off.
The only way a cancer vaccine, quote unquote, would work, or some medication, would be a suppressant to slow down those cells.
Like it would have to like squeeze it out, like create a barrier around it so it couldn't grow anywhere else. Mm-hmm. And so it wouldn't be able to freaking just keep on spreading like how it does. Mm-hmm. That's the only way to be able to get rid of cancer. That's why it's so different.
That's why it's so difficult, is trying to create a medicine that can actually do that. We have the idea. We know what to do. It's just how the hell do we do it?
We've been creating some pretty advanced technology, though, lately with medicines and stuff.
Yeah.
Like not the skin grafting. You ever see how skin grafting works? Stuff's disgusting. My stepfather, he had to get skin grafted because he caught on fire before. His whole arm,
jeez,
like his whole sides, he had like 3rd-degree burns on him. He got skin grafted, and then like for the past 10 years, he had like scales on his arm from the skin grafting. But now they have like this spray. I believe they have it, unless I've just been filling my head with lies. Where it's like a coating that acts like it's a protective layer of the outside skin. And once it does, it just heals. It heals on the inside with like double. Talking out my ass here.
You're fine.
Double the speed of how our cells initially repair themselves.
Right.
And I think it's pretty interesting, man.
Yeah,
I really do.
That's
or people, what else have I seen? I don't know. Just medicines have been.
It's just crazy.
Pretty insane,
dude, they now have a medication for HIV.
Do they actually?
Yeah. They have, now Big Pharma has commercials about it all the time.
Huh.
But there is a medication it doesn't get rid of HIV, but it suppresses the symptoms and keeps you from spreading it onto others.
So it prevents it from being contagious?
It prevents it from being contagious and from being lethal.
Oh.
So
you could basically live your whole life with HIV now without like actually dying like how people have been before.
Yeah, without actually dying and without infecting somebody else with it.
It's amazing.
Maybe one day we can have a cure for HIV, or maybe one day we could have a medication for cancer, But keep in mind, like, the 80s was the AIDS crisis,
Yeah.
So it took about 30 years, 40 years.
I feel like humanity is just going to adapt. Like, our bodies are just going to adapt eventually. Like, evolution. Like, we eventually adapt overall to anything. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it's just going to be second nature, where our bodies just develop antibodies for all these diseases beforehand. But, there's always the chance that something new is going to pop up.
Right.
So maybe when we get older, not when we get older, but maybe like our kids or our grandkids get older, from the medicines we have now, putting into our bodies, it develops some sort of reaction to preventing it in the future. without having to take those vaccines or anything like that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'll go around a huge circle, man.
It's all good.
And
It's all good.
it comes back to the point eventually.
Yes.
I just like talking.
Now, I remember when I told Declan that I had COVID-19, bringing it around.
Yeah.
He was like, now the way the nurse, I don't want to say that nurses are stupid, and I'm not saying that, but I feel like this particular nurse was giving me false information.
Mm-hmm.
When my test result came back positive, it was positive for SARS-CoV-2. That's COVID-19.
Oh, okay.
So when I told her, she was like, well, the way it works, she was like, speaking of HIV, she's like, you know how HIV and AIDS works, right? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, all right, well, think of SARS-CoV-2 as HIV before you get AIDS, which would be COVID-19. I'm like, oh, so this is like the preliminary disease, and if it gets worse, it turns into COVID-19? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I guess.
I would have said, so this will give me AIDS.
You were right. I told Declan that, and he's like, she's a fucking idiot. He's like, no, dude, you had COVID.
See, like Madeline, she's going to be a nurse and stuff, but I don't feel like they teach you whenever you're already a nurse. It's not like you're getting taught what these new viruses and stuff are, or how they work. You just know it's coming around. Be like, yeah, oh, you just got it.
Yeah,
that's how they deal with stuff.
And the virus is either a derivative or has some similarities to a different virus that we've already dealt with.
Yeah,
i.e., COVID-19 and the flu, or it's something like Ebola, where it's, and now I could just be talking out of my ass. Don't quote me on this. But I feel like it would be very hard to try and relate the Ebola virus to a different virus that we've had in human history. It's like, how the hell do we deal with this?
I'm gonna be honest, my mind just went blank.
It's okay. Your mind is pickled?
Yeah, that's why I call it pickled mind.
There you go. There you go.
But see, me growing up, I used to live in the projects.
Yeah.
With my mom.
Mm-hmm.
It was just me and my mom.
Yeah.
And like the only medicines that I would know is thermometer and Advil.
There you go.
And that's like common household medicines nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Technically a lot of past drugs too were common household medicines. Yeah. Like you think of heroin.
Yeah.
It used to be something to help people with pain.
Yeah. Fuck cocaine. Cocaine used to be put in Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I know about that too.
Yeah, like
I learned about that from the radio station, 96.1 KISS. They talked about it right on there. I was like, huh, guess I learned something new.
Yeah. They putting the coca leaf in with, can't remember, a few other ingredients. And by the way, Coca-Cola and the coca leaf extract is to this day the only legal imported form of cocaine that is brought to the United States.
Coca leaf extract. Is that still being put in Coke, you think?
No, it is.
It still is?
Yeah. Coca leaf extract. So it doesn't give you the effects of cocaine. It just takes whatever element that made Coca-Cola into Coca-Cola, putting it into the can.
See, they used to do Coke inside of Coke.
Yeah.
To make it addictive.
Yeah.
That was the main reason why they did it.
Well, yeah.
Because after people drink, like, oh man, this stuff's good.
Yeah, soda shops were outselling bars.
Outselling bars at the time.
Yeah, or pubs, depending on where you're from.
That's crazy. Could you imagine that? Like back then, it was just normal. Mm-hmm. That's the same with a lot of stuff, though.
Yeah,
everything was normal at that point in time until someone said, "Hey, no, this isn't good. It's not normal anymore."
Right.
And then you said they're starting to do the cocoa leaf extract.
Yeah. They've once the U.S. government cracked down on Coca-Cola for using cocaine in their, well, it's the coca leaf, but it's cocaine. They essentially worked it out to where they'll take the extract from the coca leaf, because I'm guessing it's like a flavor in there that reacts well with the formula for Coca-Cola. Yeah. Or something that, without that, it wouldn't be Coca-Cola.
If you think about it, they probably had to prove it wasn't like actually Coke too.
Right.
You're like, yeah, there's no addictive properties to it. It just has flavor.
And I'm also, and I'm going to go off on a limb here. This is just me spitballing right now. You remember New Coke, right? Or you know about New Coke?
I think so.
So I can't remember if it was the 70s or 80s. I can't remember the time frame, but there was a time where Coca-Cola changed their recipe and they called it New Coke.
Mm-hmm.
And the sales for Coca-Cola were going down. So they just took away New Coke, used the original recipe, and then the sales skyrocketed for Coca-Cola. A lot of people say that was intentional to get more people to buy Coca-Cola.
Probably.
I think that the New Coke was the same formula without the coca leaf extract. I feel like that's what that was. Like, okay, how about we try not putting cocaine in our Coca-Cola? And
they want to try to do something
like
legal.
Yeah, let's do something like we're already on the border of legality here. Let's try to do something just completely, let's not have to buy this. And obviously sales went down. People said it wasn't great. People said, it's okay. Kind of tastes like it, but kind of not.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the coca leaf extract is an important ingredient in Coca-Cola.
It probably, like you said, it probably is. Probably still is. There's a YouTube video I watched of the guy making original Coca-Cola, like with a carbonator and stuff too. But he's like, we're doing the same exact original recipe, he said, but without the cocaine. And like he did it all, and he's like, man, it's actually kind of good.
There you go.
He's like, it's not as good as today's Coke, he said, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta watch that video sometime.
And I feel like that's, to me, I feel like that's the recipe for New Coke. Like what he
did.
Yeah, because you said he was like, it's pretty good. It's not Coca-Cola, but it's pretty good. I think it's missing the cocaine.
It's crazy. And it's weird to think, like, back then, it's like 100 years ago, or 100-something years ago, they had major food competitors competing against each other to create the best product of one thing. But now, a lot of the stuff is just under the same company.
Yeah.
Like, you got Coca-Cola, Sprite, and all that, same company. Like, they had rising competitors probably with someone who made Sprite, or they made money themselves, who knows. But, it happens all the time. Someone comes up with this great new idea, like with McDonald's. There was actually 2 McDonald's brothers actually made McDonald's.
Yeah.
And they ran like one shot. This dude came in, tried his burgers once. He's like, you know what?
Ray Kroc.
Let's buy this.
Franchise the damn thing.
And now the whole fucking thing, it's in different countries now too. The whole franchise of McDonald's, man.
Yeah, not only that, it's across the globe. You could go to China and taste a McDonald's burger and it will taste the same as the United States.
That's true too. And they also have like different foods there as well. Like in China, they have different foods compared to... there was this one promotion, I believe it was last summer, where they made specialty burgers from certain countries and they brought it to all McDonald's. There was this... I forget what it was, but they actually had like a... no, it's not BLT. I don't want to say BLT. They had like an actual sandwich from fucking Italy. I think it was. And it was something that you couldn't get around here.
Right.
I forget what it was called. I'll have to look it up later. But they did that for once. And I was like, man, this actually pretty good. And then they got rid of it like a month after. They always do that stuff.
Yeah.
It's just to keep people coming to where they are. Because foreigners, they come out of the countries into the United States, and they see all these new foods and be like, oh, they're bringing back one of my favorite sandwiches.
Right.
That's also another tactic they probably used.
Probably, yeah. Well, on a separate episode, I want to talk about like health and fast food and all that stuff.
Health and fast food.
like
because I know you said you were vegan. I did not know that until you mentioned it to me
the other
day.
Yes.
You said you were vegan because I asked you to get out food, and you said you were vegan. You had vegan options.
Yeah.
And I guess, when you think about it, I respect people. I respect all their choices they make. Remember Rachel Bittner?
Yeah.
She was vegan, hardcore vegan, I believe. And I don't know if she still is or not.
See, here's the thing. Is like
I'll let you talk about it.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Well, actually, you know what? We'll put a pin on that. I want to dedicate a whole show to that.
Okay.
if that's fine.
Yeah, I don't care, man. like I told you lately, I've been creating YouTube videos and such,
Yeah.
and I've been putting a lot of time, a lot of work into it, man.
Yeah. It's a
Like
time-consuming thing.
it is very mentally exhausting when you gotta teach yourself how to do it while also trying to enjoy it at the same time.
Yeah.
And I cut down, like I record, like, you know, I just do gaming sessions, and I cut down literally an hour and 30 minutes of work down into 8 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And that is so time consuming because you got to figure out what pieces you want and where you want them and what else you want to add into it as well to make just good content. Yeah. Like how you were saying before, like unless you have people that actually want to watch your stuff or want to buy, for your case, buy your films that you're making, it's so mentally exhausting to try to, it's basically exhausting try to get it to a point to where everyone else is at. Yeah. Like you see all these YouTubers like PewDiePie and stuff, how they grow so fast. Yeah. And you'd be like, man, I want to become one of those guys. But you don't realize how much work they probably actually put into it. You know what I mean?
Not only that, how lucky they are that the algorithm just goes in their favor. Too.
That's true. That's very true.
Like, that's the name of the game now, is just trying to get recognized by the algorithm.
I guess it is, especially with TikTok and stuff.
Yeah.
TikTok nowadays is you get one video that blows up. Yeah. You're good. You're basically like, you'll gain a following eventually. Yeah. Because freaking my little brother, he started a TikTok channel. Yeah. And he just does scooter tricks. There you go. He got 3,000 followers in a matter of 3 weeks. Wow. And all he does is scooter tricks.
Yeah. Honestly, I honestly contemplated on doing TikToks because I have the app. You know, I downloaded the app during the days where it was apparently going to be banned in the U.S. So.
I just deleted it, dude. I'm being serious. Like, that app is so time consuming. It's made to drain your free time and basically consume you into the app. Because, it's built for you. It literally has a For You page on it. So I'd be going on it and I'd be looking through it. And it's just a bunch of funny videos because I just, that's what I used it for comedy. And it just draws you in, man. And I was like, I got to break this cycle. Because I deleted it before, and I only re-downloaded it because I wanted to start making content for TikTok. And I started to, but then I got in this like real heavy mindset where I just did not want to do anything. I'm still kind of in that mindset. But you kind of broke me out. I was doing podcasts now.
Thank you.
But I got into that mindset where I just didn't want to do anything. And then eventually the app just started draining my conscience out of it, dude.
I think it also shortens people's attention span too.
Yeah, it probably does. I have a short attention span automatically. I have ADHD real bad. Like, I don't know if you ever knew that, but I do. I do have ADHD real bad. I shake. I got you. I get like that all the time. And it's like me talking to people sometimes. Sometimes I just don't hear them. Yeah. Like, they'll be talking to me and I just don't go through I hear it. I just don't process it.
Exactly. It just doesn't register.
No. And, like, people are like, hey, like, screaming my name, Devin. I'm like, what? Oh, they're like, why aren't you listening to me? I'm like, I'll be honest, I got lost my own thoughts. Right. Like, it happens all the time. It's like not like an uncommon thing. Back during the whole ADHD fucking pandemic. Yeah, right. Where they'd be diagnosing kids only in I don't even think I got diagnosed by a fucking doctor. I got diagnosed by a school nurse. Jesus Christ. But, like, I actually eventually went to a doctor, and he's like, yeah, you got it. Yeah. I ended up taking freaking Adderall.
I was going to say Adderall.
And it just
makes you a zombie.
It does. Puts you down in the dumps. Made me depressed for, like, my whole life, man. Right, yeah. And eventually I got off, and I'm like, this is kind of not bad.
Like, I actually like being myself, being a human.
Once you get to a point where you can control yourself, like, I can control myself pretty well. It's just trying to keep focus on stuff. Yeah. Like, focus on topics for podcasts.
Yeah, you're fine. Yeah. I'll be honest. Like, one of the things that kept me and Declan from doing certain projects was my ADD.
Really?
I can't remember how long ago it was. I'm pretty sure I'm diagnosed with it. I'm pretty sure my mom said I did have it. But because I was on Adderall myself in elementary school. Here's how I got off of that. again, elementary school, my mom would make me take it like
Mhm.
first thing in the morning. And she saw on the news, like literally she was just watching the news on the TV, and it said how kids who were taking Adderall were getting high blood pressure. Like
Oh, really?
there was a study that was found. And keep in mind, I was like, again, elementary school. So, my memory might be shoddy, but my mom asked me, like 9-year-old me, like 10-year-old me, somewhere around there, maybe 8. She was like, "Hey Ryan, do you get high blood pressure when you take Adderall?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "All right, then I won't give it to you anymore." I'm like, "Okay." Coloring book?
That's a strange question to ask, man.
Yeah, it's like, how the hell do I know? I am 7 years old.
Do you feel like you're about to explode? Yes.
Like, all the time.
Speaking of high blood pressure, recently I think I've actually had high blood pressure, and I think it's from going back into McDonald's.
I think so too. Now, I'm not a dietitian.
There was okay, so I went to the Navy. I don't know if you ever knew about that, but I went to the military. I tried for it at least, and went through this whole process, man. About 8 months, probably a year, even more than that.
Yeah.
I went to these like specialized trainings with people. It wasn't like hardcore boot camp training. You just go there, exercise, talk to them, and get yourself ready, sign papers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, I got to the boot camp, and I was fat. I was fat because before I went to boot camp, I gained 40 pounds in 3 months.
Jesus.
From eating high fat foods. And I still got some of it on me today.
I got you.
But I'd eat like tons of ice cream and stuff. Like, you know what I mean? I'd get into these binge. I had a binge eating disorder, and I still have it today, but it's not as bad. And I just sit there and I binge eat like all my favorite foods, man. There'd be times where I would get 10 McChickens at a time from McDonald's.
Jesus.
And I did that. The 10 McChickens at a time was after after military boot camp, man. Because you go into military boot camp and you start exercising. They force you to eat healthy. All you're eating there like is fish.
Mm-hmm.
You're eating fish. You're eating rice is actually really bad for you. White rice is actually really, really bad for your body.
You can be, yeah.
They had food class systems. Okay, red was don't eat that. Yellow was you can eat it sometimes, and green is like it's what you should eat all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they put you on like a strict diet of just bread. It wasn't a lot of bread. You could only get like a piece of bread, fish, and they would have some vegetables and stuff too, and that was about it. And you had to drink 2 glasses of water for every meal. For breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 2 whole glasses of water. And they're about the size of the water bottle, like an actual, like your average tall cup glass, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it got me to points where eating healthy was normal. And as soon as you get out of milk, I was there for about a month and a half, and I got kicked out because of my ADHD. And whenever I got back home, I had all these foods here still, like the pop. I had like the fatty foods and stuff. I drank pop for the first time in a month and a half. I wanted to puke because that's how bad it tasted to me.
Yeah.
Like once you start actually eating healthy and you try to resort back to your old ways, it's not good at all.
Yeah.
It really isn't.
Absolutely.
It was gross, man.
Yeah.
I still can't get the taste out of my mouth. It was just normal Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And I took a sip of it, man. It was just like, how do you guys drink this?
Right.
I was like having a midlife crisis.
Speaking of midlife crisis, so I'm reaching a quarter life crisis at the minute, and I think that is probably the worst way to segue back into the thing, but
yeah, I understand.
Just laughing to mask the pain. So
that's all you really can do, man.
Yeah.
Like, I know. I'll just say it. I know Declan died. Okay. Yeah. And I'm really sorry for your loss. I truly am. But you know, whenever it comes to like pain and stuff like that, no one really knows how to handle it at first.
Yeah, just for people who don't know, and I know I didn't tell you all the details.
I didn't want to ask them.
No, fair enough. And I'm not gonna give any like everything away. I'll just say like from my perspective, the last couple of months where we were talking, we had just started to make more stuff. You know, we were getting ready to actually start releasing things, and I had made it a thing to where like every month of this year I'm going to release one thing.
Yeah.
And so far that's been a pretty decent track record. I have a Bandcamp profile. I released a demo that I did with JT Fritz.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The original mastering is gone now. It was all on his computer, and that apparently crapped out. But the demo is on my Bandcamp, and there was another demo that I did with Declan that is on there as well. You can go in there, and I'll get more into that in a sec. But anyway, we were starting to work on more things. We were kind of getting into the nitty-gritty, and we were still both busy with our lives, but you know, there was going to be more dedication focused towards what we had loved doing. It was last Saturday, not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before. I had texted him. I was going to call him just to say what's up, you know, because we would call once in a while. There was a point where like 2018, like I said, peak of our workmanship, we were calling a lot, and it was mostly just a BS, you know, and that's, but sometimes we would get some work done, you know.
Yeah.
And it would last like, we would say, hey, quick. I was looking through our messages the other day, and I asked him like, hey, do you want to do a quick 30-minute call? I wanted to talk about this thing. He's like, yeah, sure, whatever. And the call lasted like 3 hours. You know, like that's just kind of how our relationship was, you know.
Those are the best kind, man.
Yeah, no. And he, so I messaged him like, hey, I know there's a 5-hour time difference between here and over in the UK. So when I texted him, it was 6:48. It was like 11:48 over there.
Like at night?
At night. So I was like, hey, I know it's really late now. Do you want to call like maybe tomorrow or something? Or if you're home, can we call? He said, I'm home now. I'm like, okay, sounds good. Can we maybe chat later? He didn't open that message. And I was like, oh, okay. And then on last Tuesday, I got a message in my Instagram DMs from one of his friends, who I had met her, you know, beforehand. She's like, hey, is this Ryan, Declan's friend? And I didn't respond until Wednesday, you know, because I was at orientation for my new job and everything. So I finally responded. I'm like, hey, what's up? And then that's when she broke the news that Declan is gone. He's no longer with us. And I remember like I called her immediately and we talked about it. And I just remember like thinking to myself, like, no, I was just talking to him, you know? And, you know, it's something that, at first it took like a good hour and a half before it actually like registered to me. And I just couldn't stop crying. Like I remember also throwing on Hans Zimmer's Time on YouTube, just trying to, you know, clear my mind, and I ended up just crying even harder. Yeah. Like, but that all being said, the reason why I am even here right now is because one of the songs that we were, as I mentioned before, there was a song that we were getting really close to doing, but just couldn't finish it. mainly just because of my own insecurities, but it was also because we were both just very busy anyway. So even if I wasn't, I feel like in my heart of hearts, even if I wasn't insecure about it, we would still be, you know, we still wouldn't have been able to finish it, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't know, maybe that's just me rationalizing, but anyway, the song is called Into the Dark. I've now changed it to Black Diamond / Into the Dark.
Okay.
We had started working on it 3 years ago now, and it was inspired by a short film that we were trying to make, that we did actually end up making.
Really?
He pitched an idea to me because he was in a filmmaking course before he went into law school, and they needed to make a student film.
Yeah.
It was like 5 minutes long. And he said, hey, I was hoping, if it was cool with you, that maybe we could work on this together as like my student film and use that as a base for the screenplay when we get around to it. I said, yeah, that's awesome. And we actually did it. We actually, I filmed some stuff on my end. He filmed stuff on his end. Yeah. And it all cut together. And, I wouldn't say it was perfect, but it worked. And there was a piece that he wrote called Trauma Suite, which is essentially the theme for Black Diamond, the script that we're working on, which we later called the short film Into the Dark. Mm-hmm. Before the Hulu show was a thing, just to clarify, we came up with it first. Those bozos took it from us. But anyway, so while we were doing that, I wrote something just for fun, as like, hey, what if we made this into a song too? And he liked the idea. He came up with 3 different versions of the song, 2 of which are full masters. And what I ended up doing was just taking one of the masters. I rewrote some, but not all of the lyrics. And I just, in one afternoon, did the vocals. And it's now on Bandcamp, and I'll put the link in my bio for it. But you can go check out and listen to it if you want. It's part of Declan's work. And more importantly, more than that, Declan's work is everywhere on all streaming platforms. Bandcamp, Spotify, SoundCloud is where most of everything is. Mm-hmm. YouTube, even, you can find his stuff. Everything from Batman: The Long Halloween, X-Men: The Audio Drama. He did score for indie films that you can find. Mm-hmm.
You'll have to give me the links to that and stuff too. I'll post it on the page.
Yeah, his link tree is in his link tree is on his Instagram page. It's Declan G Music. Okay. That's his Instagram handle. You go on there. There's a link in his bio. Links you to everything. And his Bandcamp, I'm pretty sure, is Declan. It's just Declan Gilgallen, or Declan_Gilgallen. It's Declan, DECLAN, Gilgallen, GILLGALLON. So you can find everything there. And the other thing about the Bandcamp is that I did this. I'm going to continue to do this for any Bandcamp releases that I do. Mm-hmm. I set the pricing, because you have to name a price. I set it at 0, so it is free to listen to, and you can just download it, or you can just name your price. And if you want to name your price, you can even list it as 0 and download it for free. That being said, you have the option to put a dollar amount in there. Whatever dollar amount you do put in there, the proceeds of that are going to be donated to a nonprofit organization for mental health care. That's the real mission here.
Absolutely.
Besides from talking about AIDS medicine and fast food.
AIDS and medicine and fast
videography.
But yeah, I will definitely post. You'll just have to give it to me because I don't want to post the wrong thing.
No, I'll give it to you all right now.
And yeah, just message me on Snapchat, and I'll post it on the page. I really will.
Oh, thank you. I would greatly
We got-
appreciate it.
We got 250 people on Pickle Minds. That's crazy.
That's crazy indeed.
Okay, and we gained that within a matter of 2 months. I'm happy about it. You know, and I hope you guys listening.
Yeah.
I hope you guys get engaged. Please do. Please check it out if you
Please,
can.
yeah. Forget about my stuff. I'll be posting update. Here's another thing. It's on Bandcamp right now.
Mhm.
The song. I'm trying to release it 2 weeks from now. I'm using a Muse, the digital distributor, and I guess whatever artwork I chose for it wasn't good enough, so
Mhm.
I changed the artwork. It's hopefully coming out everywhere else, like Spotify, like SoundCloud, Instagram. It'll be available on TikTok too to use as something. So that all being said, if anybody wants to have updates for that, my Instagram handle is Real Ryan Craig. That's it. But
All in word. Real Ryan Craig.
Real Ryan Craig. All one word. All
And
lowercase. All one word.
Ryan is spelled RYAN.
Yes, RYAN. CRAIG. But more importantly than that, just go check out Declan's stuff.
Absolutely, man.
It's yeah. I mean, and I'm gonna be continuing to do music related things.
You
Just,
are?
Yeah,
Okay.
because why not? Why not? It's not gonna be perfect, but
Hey, man,
it's
it's
whatever.
nothing. When it comes to creating, nothing is perfect.
Exactly.
That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
You can't ever really perfect something the way for everybody. Just perfect it for yourself. That's the only way I can say it.
Mm-hmm.
Make it good enough for yourself to post out there. Just enjoy what you're doing, man. That's really all I gotta say. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Might as well.
I'm really bad at selling myself and my work. Because but yeah, I mean, I'm already one thing that I can actually plug that's not mine specifically, but there is a growingly famous TikToker and independent music artist. His name is Todd Brown. His artist name is Paradigm.
Mm-hmm.
I remixed one of his songs called In the Sky, and that'll be on the Dreamscapes 3 record or album, whatever you want to call it, sometime later this month.
Really?
Yeah, so
Sweet.
look out for that.
Well, what will you be posting then on? Still Bandcamp and stuff?
That'll all be on his end.
His end.
So
Okay.
yeah, but I believe the last track on that record is the remix that I did
Okay.
for his song In the Sky.
That's pretty sweet.
And so that'll be out everywhere pretty much. So follow Todd Brown, follow Paradigm on YouTube, TikTok, on Instagram, everything, and that's where you'll find out everything there. But
Yeah.
I've had 2 years, thanks to Declan, to songwrite and co-write and just BS around. So I figure I may as well put that to good use. I've tried to have I guess, like, if this makes any sense, an Atticus Ross to my Trent Reznor, like another half, Like,
Yeah, okay.
like I make the bass, they finish it. And now I don't have that. So I just need to do it on my own. I need to step up and say, okay, I'll do this for you, I'll just get this taken care of. I'll get this figured out.
Oh yeah, dude. Reach out to people too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Try to collab.
Yeah.
Because many artists in general are looking to just make music for the hell of it. you know, and if you might actually like working with some of the other people, because I know you made a song with JT, like you said before. Yeah. And his PC actually did crash. I remember him talking about that.
Yeah, dude.
So he lost everything on there.
I do. There's still hope for that song to be remastered and to be an actual official thing, because I have I have the bass line for it, but everything else that jazzed it up, gone. So.
And it seems like, dude, to be honest with you, it seems like everyone that I've started talking to lately is trying to get into music. And it's kind of cool if you think about it. You remember Jed? He's trying to write...
For real?
He's trying to write guitar songs and stuff.
Oh.
Like, he's working on guitar riffs and such as that. And, like, he's actually been getting pretty good at it. So, that's what I mean by, like, I never expected you to make music, man. I'll be honest.
Yeah, and I thank Declan. Give the credit to Declan. I don't want to say I had no interest in doing music, but I remember, like, one of the first. I'm just being completely honest. I never really had a taste in music growing up. It was just whatever my mom or sister played on the radio, whatever my dad had playing.
Mine was the 80s music, man.
Yeah.
That's all I really had.
I would listen to like a mix of Gwen Stefani and Black Sabbath, like whatever, And ironically enough, the first type of music that I actually started listening to on my own, I said, I like this, was score, like film score and TV score, and like the stuff that Declan would do, and so I would often think about, like, oh, this sounds good, but in my head I would be like, I would do this instead, and I would come up with, like,
create ideas,
like just create ideas and whatever, like maybe like try to put something into GarageBand or mess around with it, but just nothing would work because I have no musical bone in my body. And I
have something exciting to tell you.
Okay.
Run the Jewels is coming to Pittsburgh in August.
For real?
Yes.
I'm going. It's official. I'm going.
And I'll go with you, man.
Let's go.
I'm pretty sure it's August 19th that they are going.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
And Run the Jewels, man. I love Run the Jewels. They're strange on how they create their music.
Yeah.
I just like them. They're a rap duo, man. Their music go hard. You ever listen to Meow the Jewels, the album?
Yes.
That's my favorite, dude.
How do you like it?
I thought it was pretty sweet. I really did. Yeah, thought it was pretty sweet.
Some parting words before we end this off. While Declan and I were collaborators, while we worked on music, mainly worked on, writing stuff, pitching ideas, filmmaking, what have you. We did that way more than we did music, but more than even both of those, we shared laughs, we shared tears, and we just shared a lot of just interests. And he was and to me still is my best friend, and Declan, wherever you are, if there is a God, I love you, man. You're the best. I miss you, and I'll see you on the other side. One of the things that, and fuck, I might write something about this, but one of the things that is painful about loss, to me, it isn't the most painful, but this is definitely like, it's a constant gut punch, is having lost somebody and other people finding out and reaching out to you. That I appreciate it and everything. Like, don't get me wrong, it's like a constant reminder. Like every day I've had someone new say, I'm sorry for your loss. And like, he was such a good guy, blah, blah, blah. Or you have people that will say, well, do this, that, the other thing. Declan would have wanted it that way. And it's like, well, you didn't know Declan. So like, and on top of that, just constantly being it's a constant reminder of like this person is gone. This
Yeah,
person in my life is gone.
I understand that completely, man.
And you know,
That's why, like, whenever it comes to loss, like you were saying, people don't know how to react to it either. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? You just try to find comfort words to help the other person.
yeah.
And the way I found out my friend died
Mhm.
was through his brother 3 months later.
Jesus.
I got on Xbox one day hoping to play with him. And
Yeah.
he's like, oh, this isn't him. This is his brother.
Yeah.
And it was been so long. His brother was in deployment during the time. Like, he was in boot camp during the time. Not deployment. I apologize. Not deployment. He was in boot camp during the time.
Mm.
Right before graduation, he left back and never went back to boot camp.
Mm.
And, like, I got on Xbox, and I was like, hey, what's up? You want to play some video games? He's like, who's this? I was like, it's Dev. He's like, this is Max's brother. Like, Max died. And I was like, you're joking, right?
God.
I was like,
Yeah.
you're joking. I was
Yeah.
like, you can't,
Like this,
you're just joking with me.
Like this has got to be
He's-
some sick, fucked up joke.
And
Like,
he's sitting there, he's like, no, like, he actually died. And I was like, I couldn't process it. I was like,
yeah.
all right. I said, I'll leave. I'm sorry. I said, I'll leave you to it. And then I got off, and I was like, I cried. I really did.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just got off and cried. And then eventually I invited him back to the party because I wanted to talk to him. I wanted him to understand, like, why, I was confused.
Mhm.
And I told him about it. I was like, me and Max, like, we had a whole friend group. Okay. We all play video games for like the past year and a half. And he was like, yeah, I understand. I told him, like, I'm sorry. Like, I brought it up because I didn't want to,
Yeah.
I didn't know. And that's really the worst part, man. Like, I go on Xbox now and I see, like, Max's account on,
Yeah.
but it's not him.
Right. And also, and I hope I'm not bringing up any like unresolved trauma. But like
I have too much trauma,
it's
man.
like I feel that having missed his funeral too, like not having the chance. Like,
See, he lived in Florida,
Yeah.
and what I really wanted to do one day, like, I
Yeah.
wanted to go down and visit his grave.
Mhm.
I told my friend, like, me and my friends, we all said one day we'll just go down, visit his grave. Like, that was one main goal I had in life. Like, before, if I ever die, I didn't want to die soon. I was like, if I ever go to Florida, I was like, we have to go visit Max's grave. And I found out he got cremated. Now he's, like, stuck at their family's house. I don't want to just go down to their family's house. But
right.
we miss you, Max. Like, to the urn and stuff they have. Because, that'd be so awkward, man. It really would be.
Yeah.
And that was a real gut punch, man. I just, like, I feel like there's nothing I can really do about it. Like, it's something I wanted to do so bad, but there's nothing I could do about it.
Yeah. No, I feel that. I try to. I remember, and here's another thing. Like, whenever you have somebody close to you that dies, is having to either not having to, but having the obligation to either tell other people who don't know already,
Mm-hmm.
who are close to them as well, or reaching out to somebody else that was close to him and saying, hey, I'm so sorry, we're in this together. I did that with his dad, a really sweet guy. And I told him, like, hey, I'm going to try and make it out to the service. Like, not even thinking about the pandemic, about flight restrictions and all that stuff. It is prohibited by UK law. Like, I could go there, but I would have to quarantine for 10 days. So I would miss the funeral service, even if I went down. And
so there was not even a way for you to get down
like
there.
the earliest that I could leave was yesterday. Or I could just skip work. But even if I just skip work, I'm like, the tickets for like going down there right now, like a round trip is $6,000. That's not including finding an Airbnb.
That's
Because it's also prohibited by UK law to let foreigners who are from, countries with high rates of COVID-19 to be allowed in your home.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked to the Declan's friend, the one that broke the news to me. And we talked about it. Unfortunately, like, she was like, I would love for you to be able to stay at my place, but I would get arrested, and so would you. So it's a really messed up situation, and thanks to fucking COVID-19.
Maybe one day, probably be able to go down there and talk to him.
I would love to. He is going to be cremated too, but they are holding a service. That was one of the things that we had talked about. Myself and his dad. He was the one that messaged me, and he was like, "Hey, you're a sweet kid. You were best friends with him. He valued you as a great friend, but it's really not possible for you right now. And I know it's horrible, but they are going to be streaming the service, thankfully. So
Mm-hmm.
I will be able to attend that way. But just, I guess
that's a good part.
I guess it's kind of poetic that for as long as we've known each other, it's always been through a computer screen, and that's how we will say goodbye to each other.
You never got to meet in person?
No, that was always the goal, was save money, go there one day,
I understand that goal, man.
And yeah, and that
it hurts. It kind of does.
It fucking does. It's the worst. I still plan on going down there in the near future, but
Absolutely.
my hope is, like, by the time I get my new apartment, which I am in the process of getting an apartment. By the time that happens, hopefully the vaccine will be evenly distributed. Things will calm down a little bit. Hopefully things in the UK will calm down a little bit, because they just had another huge outbreak.
Yeah, they got the new strand, don't they?
They do. So, I mean, I don't know. It's all messed up, but
there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, and sometimes I feel alone about it, but other times I have to remember, like, hey, other people are suffering this way too. It's like there are some people who just can't have funerals, or some people who wish they could be there but can't, for people that they loved so much, and that's kind of, I'm part of that statistic. We're both part of that statistic.
Yeah,
even
that's true.
COVID-19 or not.
It was before COVID-19, man.
Yeah.
And, like, it was me being 15, 16, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not being able to do anything about it.
Yeah.
That's just something that you just have to learn how to do. That was, like, my first sense of, like, true loss.
Yeah.
Right there. Like, whenever I was younger, my great-grandmother died before. But, like, I didn't understand it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Looking back now, I'm just like, oh, like it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Yeah. But still, I kind of miss her. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. No, I totally understand.
It's weird. It's just a strange feeling. Still hurts. Like, it doesn't ever go away. I still think about them.
Yeah.
And, like, you ever play Rainbow Six Siege?
I've not, but I know what you're talking about.
That's the one main game that we always played. I couldn't touch it for 2 years.
Yeah.
It was hard.
I get that. I don't think I'll be able to listen to a piece of Thomas Newman score, or Hans Zimmer, or James Newton Howard for probably the next, fuck if I know, 6 years, 7 years.
Eventually you'll go back to it.
Yeah.
It's just, you need a matter of time to just process it.
And do you know what else too? And this is the really bupkis about it, is that I told you before he was a fan of Run the Jewels.
Mm-hmm.
He was also a fan of Nine Inch Nails and a little bit of Alice in Chains. These are all things that I listen to.
Really?
Like these are all things that like I know I had introduced him to Run the Jewels. He's like, this is amazing.
Run the Jewels is sweet, man.
Yeah, pretty much like what I'm getting to is all the stuff that I normally listen to. Like, I won't be able to listen to without thinking about him, And I don't think that's a bad thing, but, it's painful right now.
Yeah, especially if it happening so soon, man. Like, all I can say is I understand. That's really all I can say. everyone's situation is different, but at the same time, it's like it's all the same feelings. You know, a lot of my podcast shows, you know, it's always, I'm pretty sure the last few podcasts I've been talking about is literally just based around death. Like, I don't know if you actually listened to some of it and stuff.
I did, yeah.
Me and Jed, that's what we talked about. We talked about death, you know, and me and Mike.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I talked about it in the last one, though, but that's the main reason why I kind of created the show.
Yeah.
Because I want to be able to understand the world in a way that almost everyone does and doesn't at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to understand it in my own way, help me process through a lot of stuff. I've had a lot of trauma, man.
Yeah.
Growing up, you know, and I can't say that no one else has. You know what I mean? I've had friends that freaking, you know, I've been through a lot of stuff, and you know, a lot of those bondages and stuff have been through that pain.
Yeah, everybody has their own story. Everybody has their
Very
own
true.
their own trauma.
That's why, you know, I hope podcast gets big. I really
Yeah.
do. I just want people to listen.
Just stay
People to listen and understand.
stay consistent with it. And,
Absolutely.
you know, and maybe one day things will pan out. Who knows?
Absolutely. You know, I feel like I had a good talk.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
I really do, man.
And I appreciate you having me on here too.
Absolutely. You know, thank you, Ryan, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. Please, everybody, check out Declan's work.
Yes, absolutely.
Check out Bandcamp.
Everyone check out the work. I'll post the links on the page, so it'll be easy to find. And thank you for listening to Pickle Minds Podcast. Peace.